What's good? I'm Kinell, and this is Sinister Cinema, where we get deep into the guts of the stranger side of cinema. Just letting you know with this little bit at the start that we now have a Patreon. Sub up to that and you can get all these episodes early and ad-free, so you won't even see this bit at the start. You get them a few days before the main episodes drop out. We've got some great guests coming up. We've got some studio episodes. We've got some Zoom episodes with some fantastic rappers talking about the films they love and the films that influenced them. We got a lot going on there. Plus, you get some bonus content like film reviews, all that kind of thing. I don't need to explain this to you. You know what a Patreon is. But yeah, it's patreon.com/Kinell Sinister Cinema. So check that out. Peace. Yes, people. What's good? I'm Kinell, and this is Sinister Cinema, where we get deep into the guts of the stranger side of cinema. Kinell Sinister Cinema is brought to you by Forgotten Sons Apparel. Check them out at forgottensonsapparel.co.uk. Forgotten Sons Apparel is a York-based streetwear brand drawing inspiration from alternative culture, tattoos, film, classic TV and cartoons from our childhood. In our own words, if you like our stuff half as much as we do, then we like it twice as much as you. I'm a big fan of this brand and I love the guys who make it. They've supported me for years, way before I was podcasting. They supported me in my battle rap career. You might have seen me rocking some of their garms on Don't Flop and other leagues. I love Forgotten Sons Apparel and I'm urging you all to check them out at forgottensonsapparel.co.uk. Right, now on with the show. Yes, once again, Kinell Sinister Cinema back with another one of these Zuba episodes and another person that I've been absolutely gagging to get in. If you're on the Patreon, you're seeing this several days early and you didn't watch any annoying adverts before. But if you're on the regular episode, you've seen a couple of annoying episodes, a couple of annoying adverts. There's ways to get rid of that. Patreon.com/Kinell Sinister Cinema. But regardless, here is one of my favorite human beings on the planet. It is Adam Felman. You might know him as Mos Prob. You may well know him as Judicrous. And you may well know him as the whatever the fuck you do in Cable Salad. And he's also an amazing writer. He's doing all sorts of things that I don't really know. What things are you doing, man? Do you want to tell me about your things?
I have things.
Yeah.
I work for Screenrant at the moment, which is thematically appropriate, I guess.
Yeah,
just write about films all day. Can't really complain about that.
that's right, man. I'd love to write about films all day. In fact, no, I wouldn't. I probably wouldn't enjoy it at all, man. But yeah. So, how are you, man? How are you feeling? How is this sunny weather treating you?
The sunny weather is good. I'm like a minute away from the sea where I am, so that's excellent. And yeah, got our dog back off of quarantine about a week ago. Broke my elbow about 2 weeks ago. So it is about as violent a swing and a roundabout as you can get, really. But
How did the dog break your elbow?
just extreme violence. Learned a lot in the Ukrainian special forces, and
Yeah.
fuck my elbows, basically.
Elite dog. We appreciate that. Yeah. So I suppose we better talk about films. You watched any good films lately?
I have. I actually spent this weekend. I watched more films than I think I've watched in a 24-hour period than I have for ages. But I went to see Bullet Train, which was like The Big Lebowski, but with hitting people in the head. And obviously like far less, polished and, layered than the Big Lebowski, but it was so much fun. I had a really, really good time. And that's kind of, I sort of take an approach to watching films. There's a lot of people I know who are very much like, this is not the highest art form it could possibly be. Here's how it's not canon. Here's how it lets the other films down. I'm just like, man, like hundreds and possibly thousands of people worked on this. You've done whatever you do for a job. You've kicked off for the day. Just enjoy it. Like, yes, you can watch films that add tons of value to your life and intellectually stimulate you, but just like people kicking each other in the head for 2 hours, and that's it. That's catharsis for the week.
this is it. Like, flipping, the concept of canon's like a recent thing, isn't it? It's not been long at all. Like that people have like cared about something being canon. I mean, like, you know, I'm from like, you know, a horror movie background. Like generally, like most films do not make any sense if you actually try and apply canon to them. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Halloween, any of that, like they all like splinter off. And so, you know, it's like with the horror genre, you kind of like have to get used to things not being canon. But recently it's become like a real thing that things have to be canon and make sense. Where do you think that's come from? Like,
Oh, because it's commercially useful.
yeah.
These things only happen because it suits. Like the fandoms and the people that make the corporate decisions about what movies they're going to throw $100 million at. Obviously, it's all everything's multiverses, everything's, you know, intellectual property, just cramming as much in there as possible. And it's like it has to like. I think it started with Star Trek. I think Star Trek was the first big, like, because that was the first proper sci-fi franchise to really get to like 15 sequels, some of which were shit, some of which were quite good.
But all of which made money.
Exactly, all of which made money, and then they make money off people arguing about what's canon and what's not, and then you can fold in a really crap, pointless property and make money off of it by telling people it's canon. And now, I mean, the whole Marvel, the MCU business has completely, like, because they have now bought everything, they're able to fold everything into canon. So are you telling me that the X-Men movie that I got super excited about seeing when I was 12 and went back to see 3 times, you telling me that doesn't count now? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just it doesn't. And then you've got the remakes and stuff as well. So the Amazing, I never even saw the Maguire Amazing Spider-Man because it was 10 years after I'd seen the first one, and it was a very similar story. So it was like, it's like it's not canon when it suits the money man, and it is canon when it suits them. You know what I mean? They just pick and choose. So ultimately, it doesn't matter. It's just lining someone's pockets. I don't know.
It's one of those, like, I think like the funniest example is probably the Conjuring franchise.
Because, yeah,
because like I definitely remember the Curse of La Llorona being flipping released as canon, and then it didn't do so well, and suddenly it wasn't canon anymore.
It's like you can't, you know, as a battle rapper, you can't just go out there and throw out a really shit line. I mean, you can. We're both welcome to go out and throw out really shit lines out there, but you can't go.
I do it all the time, man.
It likewise. You can't just turn around and go, well, no, that one didn't count towards my second round because it didn't do so well. I don't buy that. I think that's dumb. But regardless, Bullet Train was fun. I watched Carter at the weekend on Netflix. Ooh. That should have been a lot better than it was. Have you heard about that?
I haven't heard about Carter, man. Tell me about that.
So I imagine they threw the money at it when they heard the pitch, which was essentially one-shot Korean martial arts zombie movie.
Hell yeah, sold.
It's not perfect, but it will shove an entire bottle of vinegar up your ass and not apologize for it. It makes, again, no fucking sense at all. Like, they just find ways to overcomplicate it. But I will take 2 hours of someone kicking people in the head. It's just cathartic. I've had a terrible few weeks.
South Korea kind of like took over Netflix, and I think it was like during COVID, there was a point when like Netflix had no new content being made except for like Korean dramas, and I think there was some Japanese ones and stuff, because that was the only people who were making content. So like I think they got a lot in there, like, and it's a weird thing to say, but currently like flipping Netflix is the best place to watch any kind of like Asian content, be it films, be it dramas, be it the other stuff they have. Like, I believe there's a lot going on with anime, but I don't really understand anime.
Not in the slightest. That's again, if you're talking canon, like that's something I'm not even going to begin to talk about that because I have no understanding. I've got some of my writers are like super into anime, and I'm like, you know what? I trust you to be into anime. Yeah. I'm going to send you the Demon Slayer pieces. Just understand it for me, so I don't have to. But that was all Parasite, wasn't it? Like when that won the Oscar, they were suddenly like, oh, well, people have liked Korean movies for ages. I mean, I guess that was
I think like Netflix was kind of ahead of the game there because like, I mean, like Parasite got so big because it got a big international release. And that probably went back to Okja.
Yeah, actually, same director, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like the same guy, and he got like John Ronson to like sort of punch up the script and like make the English sounding people sound more English and shit. So like flipping, I reckon. Look, again, Netflix, like they're fucking actually doing something semi-useful.
They're like any company. So like, there's so many. Every company will like make really, really good decisions until they make the really, really bad decision. I think Netflix's approach to the whole animation thing, like binning that all off, I don't think it was a great call. I think there's some really great animated series on Netflix, like Dogs in Space. No one saw Dogs in Space, really, but it was really funny.
I've really not even heard it. This is the first I've heard of Dogs in Space. What's Dogs in Space?
I've only heard of it because I used to do stuff with the head writer on the show. He used to be he used to run the Casual Violence sketch group that I was in. He then buggered off to Netflix and doing like massive things. He's written on like Cartoon Network shows and stuff as well. But yeah, he told me about Dogs in Space. I was like, I mean, I like the concept, but I think he also did a show called Space Chickens in Space. So like, I'm sensing a theme in his work.
Yeah,
it's like Tarantino and feet. Like it's just going to keep coming back. But yeah, then they're sort of killing the animation slate is that. But again, like HBO Max, I thought what they did during the pandemic with the huge movies like Dune dropping on their first thing was amazing. I don't think what they're doing at the moment is particularly great, with burning everything to the ground. But
do you for a bit like as big Screenrant guy, do you think that's legit? Do you think that might be a bit of bullshit? Because I've got my suspicions that like they kind of like saw what happened with the Snyder Cut of Justice League, and I think by telling people they're not allowed to see something and like getting a bit of an online moment going on, a bit of an online campaign, you can sell people a rubbish movie. Do you think that's a bit of a possibility?
I don't think it is because it's not. Batgirl was never Snyder Cut or even original Justice League level marketed. I didn't hear anything about Batgirl at all. And like the run up to San Diego Comic-Con this year, everyone was like, oh, they're going to drop some Batgirl news. Nothing happened, obviously, in retrospect, because they were throwing it out the fucking window. But I think it is legit because I think they've now seen what happened with the MCU. Like there's nothing that DC have ever touched that really did what Infinity War did.
Yeah.
But now Marvel's kind of falling off. They like Phase 4 has been shit.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, we've got a little dip in the bell curve here. We can, if we don't make this decision now, before all the Secret Wars stuff goes off in like Phase 6 or whatever it is, then we're never going to get like our foot back in the door. But I don't think
they're giving it the big Etch-a-Sketch shake-up.
They are. I think they should literally do the ballsy thing, kill off the lot of them, kill off Aquaman, kill Batman, kill Superman, make it the Justice Society, and then if you want to go into all the Batman world stuff, do Gotham Knights. Give me a Nightwing show or a Nightwing movie. Like actually go into the cooler, like smaller characters on the DC roster. Why are we on our third iteration of Batman in our lifetimes? Like we're not that old.
I'm old. I'm sure I'm on my eighth iteration of Batman at this point. Like,
I mean,
I was watching the what's it called? That like I was in a bit of a quandary. Like, so I've started buying 4K discs and flipping. I wanted to get Dune, and it turned out like there was only so many films that I could get in what should we call it, a 2 for 20 quid thing with it. And one of them was Batman, and then it turned out if you buy any other purchase, you can get Batman Returns on the cheap.
okay.
So I rewatched Batman Returns recently, and wow, they have not done anything better since.
They really haven't, man. It's a shame. Like, if you've had 10 goes at the same thing and the thing isn't working, it is making money, but it's not like Joker did so well because it's just super different.
Joker did so well because they basically stuck Batman aesthetics on the king of comedy and Taxi Driver. And no one's making films like that. You need to attach it to an IP now.
I mean, that's the shame about it. But I try and look at it through the other lens again, because I'm not defensive of Scorsese. Scorsese also essentially made the same film over and over again. Just this is its Wall Street costume. This is its Irishman costume. This is its gangster costume. Like, it's still the same. Like, bloke gets really rich and powerful. Bloke does horrible stuff and then either dies or ruins his family or something. The Joker did fit that template, but instead of seeing, we're throwing a Batman costume on Martin Scorsese, I'm kind of seeing it as they're throwing a Martin Scorsese costume on Batman, and that's kind of dope. I wasn't mad about Joker, but I thought, I would give them the nod for doing something different within that genre. You can only look at them as genre movies and then work back.
That's very true. Like, this whole thing of canon, what do you think is the best example of canon done well?
Canon done well. So I think it's less canon and more because canon is just fan theories that show creators or filmmakers agree with.
Yeah.
That's essentially all it is. So stuff like Willy Wonka being a serial killer, or even better, the Snowpiercer theory about Ed Harris's character being Charlie from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
That's interesting.
There is a well thought out, convincing story that is the case. I that's headcanon now, because you've got canon and then headcanon, haven't you? Yeah. I think it's all headcanon until someone at the studio just goes, yeah, you know what, we didn't think of that. Good shout. Yeah. So I think that's one of my favorite examples where it's not recognized as canon, but as far as I'm concerned, it is. Yeah. I think any movie where they've released an alternate ending, like I Am Legend or Butterfly Effect, or if they've released an alternate ending, then you can watch. Then you're being given a canon ending and a non-canon ending, and it was one decision in the editing suite that separates the two.
I'd say for the most complete canon that's flipping not related, it'd have to be Benson and Moorhead. But the best connect did Synchronic and Spring and The Endless. Okay. Yeah. Their new ones are debuting at Fright Fest, so I'm going to see that. I'm fucking buzzing for it.
Was the Anthony Mackie one, right?
Yeah, Anthony Mackie, where they're the ambulance drivers and there's a drug that takes you through time. And it's kind of connected to The Endless and the other one that begins with R and Spring. They've done 4 films and they're all kind of connected in that they're all set in a world that's fucked up in the same kind of way. But I would say the most entertaining flipping canon is flipping the Transformers Friday the 13th canon.
That's a shared canon?
Yeah, the first Transformers movie in 2007 features a character called Trent DeMarco, played by some guy, like Trent DeMarco might be the actor, and he's like Megan Fox's like shitty boyfriend at the start. That same character, played by the same actor, appears in the Friday the 13th, 2009 one, and gets killed by Jason Voorhees. So they're in the same universe, 2 years apart.
That is astonishing. I did not realize that at all. That's phenomenal.
Yeah. Michael Bay with the connection. So Jason Voorhees exists in the same universe as Optimus Prime.
Incredible. I mean, they're more or less the same person.
Yeah.
I think Chippendale Rescue Rangers has completely broken all of the canons, making it the official best canon.
Yeah, that was exceptionally good for what it was like.
Where did it come from?
It's one of those, isn't it? Like things like that, you're like, I don't even want to like this because I see what you're doing. I see what you're trying to do to me. You're just trying to give me member berries. So it's like something that I fucking buzz off. And you're just trying to fuck with me that way. But it just ends up being actually good and you enjoy it and fucking, you've got Disney Plus because it's free with your phone and yeah, it was just very, very good.
I was kind of it did everything that Space Jam: A New Legacy should have done, but what Space Jam 2 did was just stab itself repeatedly in the leg.
Yeah.
Whereas Chippendale actually, like, it was quite dark as well. There was a cheese crack house.
Yeah. I think with those sort of things, you've got to like because the thing is, like, you know, you're making it for kids. Which makes sense, but at the same time, the kids aren't going to get the references. All the references you're doing are for the adults, so you've got to kind of go further down that line. Like in Roger Rabbit, like that film goes darker than you remember. You know, flipping like Donald.
25 years.
Donald Duck calls Daffy Duck the M word.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. I'm not going to go further into that because I can't really explain it without actually like saying it. But there's a bit where they're having a piano duel and then, yeah.
But I heard that's not canon, so.
Yeah, because it's all about canon, isn't it?
Exactly, man. But yeah, what else have I seen recently? I think The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent should be canon in everything.
Yeah, it is.
Which technically it is because it's real Nicolas Cage, which means.
Like he got some of his tattoos covered up because he wanted to make Nicolas Cage in Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent different from the real him.
I've met the.
So you met Nicolas Cage?
I did. Actually, there's a lot of name dropping in this next 5 minutes of my life, but I shall. Jackie went to school with. Have you ever seen the 100 at all, or heard of the 100?
I'm familiar.
There's someone on that. It went to school with Jackie, my wife, for the uninitiated. And so we went on our little honeymoon trip. It must have been about 8 years ago now. Sort of went coast to coast in America. When we got to LA, her and her other half, who was Joseph Kahn at the time.
Joseph Kahn?
Yeah, it was
Bodied fame.
Of Bodied fame. So it was myself, my wife, Lindsay Morgan off of the 100 and Joseph Kahn sat around a table, and they took us to like a kind of brunch magic show thing at this place called the Magic Castle in LA. And we got there.
That sounds shy, to be honest.
It was fucking amazing, man.
Was it?
It was like proper. It's where like the bigger magicians go to just like test their stuff. So
is it?
It was just stuff of like absolutely mad stuff of like working out people's phone pins and stuff just by.
So it's like a new material night for magicians.
It's mad. I think there was genuine like sorcery happening there, but I'm very gullible. I'm very easily swayed by all that magic stuff. But yeah, like her brother was there as well, Jackie's brother, and he goes, "Yeah, guys, I don't want to freak you out, but Nicolas Cage is sat over there," and I very loudly just told him to fuck off because, I mean, that's not physically possible, and he's just sat there with his hair plugs and his whole family, and like they had a whole row of the magic show booked out, so it was just like us sat kind of sort of diagonally.
That makes sense to me. That's where Nicolas Cage hangs out. He hangs out at a New Material Magic Night.
Why would you not? If you were Nicolas Cage, at the time, my wife had a phone case which was his face, but on loads of little pepperonis on a pizza. She was just like, "I'm never going to have this opportunity again." So she just went and said, I know you're sick of people interrupting you, but I had to show you this because when's it ever going to happen again? And he was like, those things go real well together. And then just like went for a slash. And that was the whole Nicolas Cage experience. But yeah, his massive talent was unbearably heavy then. And it will be...
That is such an entertaining movie, like, isn't it?
It's the best Nick Cage movie. I couldn't find you a Nick Cage movie that is both genuinely superbly written movie and gives you as much like Nicolas Cage for you, but possibly apart from adaptation. It's actually very similar. It reminded me a lot of adaptation in a lot of ways. But I was just, it was fun with it. Adaptation is good, but it's like, God, this is layered. This is making my brain work. Whereas Unbearable Weight kind of does that. But they're still like crying over Paddington 2. It's fun. Oh, I love it so much, man. I've actually wanted to rewatch it since I haven't actually got it on DVD yet or anything. But I really that's one I really want to revisit from earlier in the year. It's a top 3 movie for me, man. I genuinely couldn't really fault it as a film. I couldn't tell you a single thing wrong with it.
Fair dues, man. Fucking I like my Nicolas Cage mad bastard films. Like The Wicker Man's like a big one for me.
You know that bees scene isn't in the US one. The Not the Bees moment isn't in the US.
That the version with the Not the Bees is the one that's on Prime at the minute. You've got to get the director's cut DVD.
That's just...
which I have done, obviously. Obviously. I own a copy of. Obvious B. But they fucking like. When is the fucking 4K coming? When is the Blu-ray coming? Is it surely it must be due.
What, of Unbearable Weight? No idea. I haven't.
Well, no, Wicker Man. Like I've got the Blu-ray.
Oh, Wicker Man. I think they're probably trying to bury that one because we're in the third age of Cage now, aren't we? Like he doesn't need Wicker Man anymore because he's now combined his like integrity phase with his what the fuck am I doing? I need money phase and done something.
So that's exactly the time to bring it out. Like, you know, they're dropping flipping Wicker Man references in that, like, but I mean, it's like now, like Vampire's Kiss has come out, like now, like, it's a lot of people saying they love that, like, you know, it's a really embraced film. But
I hope so. I love Vampire's Kiss.
Yeah.
It is sexually problematic, but it is good.
Yeah, what you call it? There's I can't remember where it is, but there's an insane article about like the making of that film. And apparently, like, who's the bird in it?
I don't know her name.
Yeah. During the sex scene, Nicolas Cage apparently wasn't into it enough, so he felt like he couldn't act like he was into it. So they insisted that one of the crew poured warm yogurt onto his toes during that scene off camera so we could get into it.
I don't have any response to that. It's very on brand, both for yogurt and for Nicolas Cage. Wow, I need to look into the making of that film more. I just watch the end products and go, this is a Coppola shouting his head off, and I'm here for it. I need to actually look into the.
Absolutely, truly fantastic, but you wonder what's happened into his life, where he went to that as the first solution.
That's not, yeah, that's not a, it's like a maybe, even you go, I'm not that into it. My bottom half's off camera, just stick it on me bum. I'm fine with that. Like, no one has to know. Just stick it on me bum. But like the first port of call is the yogurt.
Yeah, the what you call it, like over room temperature yogurt slowly dribbled over your toes.
It's just
You've
not doing
gone
it for
through
me,
some
man.
shit before you get to that point, don't you? You've tried a lot of things.
Yeah, you've really, really exhausted your options there. Like, that's not even, I don't even think there's like, I don't think I could Google that right now and find like a porn site that would specialize in that. And there is a porn site that specializes in everything.
Yeah.
That kink is
Rule
not
23.
canon.
Yeah, like you've been through a lot of shit to do that, like, and at some point it's not the first time you've done that. And also that means that you've been in a room where you've done that in private, and like you can't do that with just two people. That he's like existed where there's been a separate person in the room pouring over room temperature yogurt onto his toes while he's having sex with someone else.
The first time had to be an accident, right? You left some yogurt out. You're like, oh, for fuck's sake, I left the yogurt out. You fling your hands everywhere. You just gesticulate as Nick Cage is prone to do. And boom, it's on your feet. And oh no, now I have a raging hard on. This is gonna be professionally helpful at some point in the future.
He turned it into money, like. He turned it into an iconic film.
I mean, he didn't turn it into the whole film. I think let's just be clear about it. He turned it into one part of the film. But credit to him, like to have the courage on set.
I don't know. I think if that's the energy that's on set, even if that's only one bit of it, I think that energy being part of the film is probably why the film is like the film is like the film.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean that's usually the way, isn't it? I think with anything you make, like if you sat down and wrote a song, but you had a really weird day or something fucking stupid had happened, that song is going to come out weird and stupid, or your delivery is going to come out super off kilter. I mean, it's always a good thing. Like
it's like the Jack White thing. Do you know, like Jack White, who's in the White Stripes?
Yeah.
Who was in the White Stripes. His thing is he only flipping like makes music with people who are stressed. So whenever he's like making a tune, like with like everyone who's like a session musician on one of his things gets like an hour's notice. Like say you're say you're a guitarist living in fucking LA, a session musician living in LA. You get a phone call off Jack White. He goes, right, I need you to do this part here. Can you get here in an hour? And if it's no, fine, we'll get someone else. So like everyone who plays music on a Jack White record just has to drop what they're doing and say, fuck it, I can't do this. Can you pick the kids up and all this? And you've got to deal with the traffic and fucking I'm in the studio. And so all his music is like fucking made by people who are really fucking stressed.
But you have to stay in, if you're in LA, you have to start out like that second. You literally have to get off the phone to Jack White and jump in the car and wait in gridlock traffic for an hour to get 5 meters up the road.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like, I mean, that's kind of amazing. It's like
he does it to himself and all. He does it to himself and all. Like he'll get up in the morning and he's not allowed to have breakfast until he's written 2 songs and all this shit. And like when he was doing his like live tour and it was his backing band, he'd like fucking like there'd be one bit when he'd have to like take his guitar off and run over to the keyboard, and he'd have him moved a little bit further away every night to make it a bit more stressful. And he had a girl backing band and a lad backing band, and they wouldn't know which one was like doing the gig. He'd pay them both, but he wouldn't tell them which one was playing tonight until like it was time to go on stage.
My God, man. That's Trout Mask replica level shit. Like that is I like it, but at the same time,
fuck that. I couldn't be arsed with it.
Would never ever get involved. Why would you get involved with that? Like, there is literally Jack White is bless you, Maggie. Sorry. There's, you know, there are stressful environments and they can be creatively fertile. But what's the point? Don't you do it to be like, you get to make music for a job? Why would you then turn that into the equivalence of a fucking Wall Street gig?
But that's it, like fucking like deliberately adding the stress gives it that energy. Like if you think back to all like fucking like stuff like the Dead Weather and stuff, all his music has this anxiety and stress to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, but like I know that music is not acting, right? Like they're different crafts. You're portraying stuff in different. But if you look at I can't remember the bloke that was in Marathon Man with Dustin Hoffman.
Oh yeah,
Dustin Hoffman would like not sleep all night and run around the block to look like he was someone who had, you know, been through the ringer of it. And then was it Laurence Olivier? It was someone.
Yeah.
It was just like, just fucking act. Like, and if you're a musician, just play. Like, you don't have to be, if you've written a song when you're in a stressful place, which that makes a lot of sense, right? You're getting all these thoughts down, you're processing them, you're working it out.
But just insisting on constantly putting yourself in a stressful place, that's complete self-sabotage and kind of narcissistic, because then it gives you an excuse to be shit to the people in your life. Right? It's like, oh, I can't, I'm so stressed. Dude, you moved your piano and guitar to different ends of LA and you're running between them in the space of 20 seconds. Of course you're stressed and being shit to me. Like, there's no, I don't know. Yeah, you never hear about Jack White's mates going on about how great he is, do you?
Not really. Oh, it's such a good time. Maggie, are you, hold on, I think she's getting to the point where she needs to have a poo. Or she's just being really cute and wants attention. But I'm going to go
either
and get
way,
her.
she deserves both. So I'll tell you what, we'll knock it on the head there. But before we drop it off, we'll do a proper episode with some plans and some questions and a theme and that. But I just wanted to get you on here for vibe reasons. So before you take your dog out for a shit and a cuddle, where can people catch you?
So you can find us at facebook.com/cablesaladuk. That's where I do a lot of my music these days. I make beats and instrumental weird stuff under Beating with Beatface. So that's on Facebook too. I'm terrible at promoting stuff. And I really do. It's like the opposite of Jack White. It's like I really do it because I'm just having a nice time at a computer, and that's what comes out. So feel free to check that out. Obviously, go to Screenrant. We have all the opinions all the time. Most of them are valid. She's gonna poo on the floor. And yeah, just have a nice time in everyone's life. I don't really plug stuff anymore. I just get on with my day. Okay, cool. I'll let you take your dog for a shit. I'm Kinell. This has been Sinister Cinema. Safe.